fucking
he
badass.
pulls this Red Lantern out of a pool of blood, and that's how the birth of the Red Lanterns came about. And now Atrocitus's goal is to kill the Guardians of the Universe in vengeance for his family and his people. And
But he also loathes the black. He loathes the yellow.
he hates everybody. I mean, because that's their thing, rage.
But
They hate
you've
everybody.
also seen in a few story arcs, they've kind of not necessarily teamed up with the Green, but they fought
put up
together.
with it.
They fought side by side. So you see the Red, and you're like, oh my god, they're all hideous and full of anger and rage.
And
But they're
just-
not. I mean, there's a point to their rage. You know, they have it. It's pointed like an arrow at something, and it destroys whatever it comes in contact with. But the greatest story I ever heard about the Red was Dexstar.
Yes.
Did you tell me that story?
I did. It was in an issue. It was like of last. You know,
Dexstar is a cat. You'll see a
Yes.
cat. Like if you look at Injustice, the video game, the cat that's hanging above Atrocitus,
That's
Dexstar. Sorry, I just feel like I need to
It was
kind of reiterate.
It was
that.
in like one of the issues of Brightest Day Green Lantern, and it was like the last couple issues last couple pages they set aside to tell the origin story of this cat, because you're like, how the fuck does a cat, an Earth cat, get a red ring? So here's the story of Dexstar.
Yes, please do share.
Dexstar was a homeless kitty. No one loved him. He was fending for himself.
Soft kitty,
Wear kitty little ball fur. But then an elderly black woman sees him, takes pity on him, takes him into her home, and then she loves and cares for him.
And she's elderly, so she dies.
But here's how. One night, some home invaders bust in, trying to rob the place, end up killing the old lady. And
that's
then-
right, that's right.
And then Dexstar witnesses all of this. And then the police show up, and of course Dexstar is trying to be a good kitty, like try to be with his master, and the police are like, get that fucking cat out of here. Of course they don't really curse, but they're like, get the cat out of
Take the
here.
cat out of the building.
Yeah, and then so he's homeless once again, and then this little group of douchebag kids grab Dexstar, throw him into a bag, and they're about to toss him over a bridge into a river. At that moment, red beam of light, nice little red ring attaches to Dexstar's tail.
Well, it sits in front of him and says, Dexstar, you are full of rage or whatever.
And then
Slides onto his tail.
and then he becomes a Red Lantern and murders
These kids.
But here's a really interesting thing about the Red Lanterns. When a Red Lantern ring goes on your finger, the first thing you do is projectile vomit all of the blood in your body.
Yes, and it gets replaced with
this red napalm-like fire.
almost like
liquid
lava,
thing.
but not molten rock.
Almost. But it's just, and that's fire is fueling you. And that's one thing about Red Lanterns is that they can't stop being a Red Lantern or they will die.
Yeah.
That's actually what happened to Mara in Blackest Night.
And what in the storylines would happen to Guy Gardner.
Mm-hmm.
Even though somehow, I think they mentioned in these last couple episodes that he can go back and forth. It's weird. But also, I'm assuming what happened to Supergirl. Because she was a Red Lantern at one point in time, too.
Yeah, they had to... Well, in Blackest Night, it took the combined forces of Violet and Blue, I believe, to get them back.
I know Blue was a huge piece of the Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Which...
But when
us-
Mara saw Arthur alive again, her rage faltered immediately.
Yeah.
Like, she saw her husband back to life, and then it's like, rage faltered, and then it falls off her finger, and then she, like, collapses her, like, because all of the blood in her body is gone. Like,
Yeah.
So now, like, then Violet and Blue had to team up together and use their combined powers to bring her back from the brink.
Right on. That was in...
Blackest Night. Towards the end.
God, I don't remember that.
It's been a while, but that's one scene I do remember vividly. Just her as a Red Lantern was so rewarding.
So we've covered...
Oh, and
Hal.
they breathe fire. They breathe fire.
Oh, yeah, they definitely breathe fire. So we've covered Hal, we've covered Sinestro, we've covered Atrocitus.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to St. Walker?
Yeah, let's go St. Walker.
So Saint Walker is,
the first official Blue Lantern,
which is a group that was created by Sade
and Ganthet,
and Ganthet,
who were exiled guardians of the
Green.
universe because because Sade and Ganthet saw the worth that in the other spectrums.
Right.
But of course,
And the
they
Guardians
abolished
wanted
emotions.
to
Stick to
suppress
what they had. They wanted to
the
suppress
emotions, whereas Sade and Ganthet kind of wanted to use the emotional spectrum rather than suppress it.
And so they were exiled, and in their exile, they created and founded the Blue Lantern Corps.
Right. And Saint Walker's backstory is tragic, and I use it in my 42-page deal as kind of the sticking point for being all hope.
Yeah.
Yay, hope.
And that's what blue is. Blue is hope.
And the way that it's obvious what green does. They make constructs. Yellow makes sphere constructs. Red is just pissed and can beat the shit out of you and breathe fire and spit
and
lava
just,
crap all over you.
Slit your throats with all sorts
so
of fun
blue
stuff.
is... When blue is working with green, green becomes more powerful. So blue is, I guess the best way to put it is the strongest because they can do the most, but also the weakest because they're very peaceful. In a way, if you think about it, they're more Buddhist monk.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm disagreeing.
Than ninja master.
That's not why they're least powerful. Because they can't make constructs
right.
or anything without a Green Lantern present.
Right.
And do you know why?
Why?
Because hope has no power without the willpower behind it to make it a reality. Word for word from the comic.
There you go.
That's exactly how he described it.
There you go.
And when they pair up, the Blue Lanterns will charge the ring of the Green Lantern.
Yep.
And it's like a symbiotic relationship. They keep the Green Lantern charged, and the Green Lantern gives the Blue Lantern the ability to make constructs and actually do more.
So when you talk about support core, this is the definition of that.
They're the support team.
They are. But in turn, they also make the biggest, baddest team, the bigger and badderiest team ever.
They can take a sun that's about to go supernova and bring it back to its infancy as like a blue dwarf star.
And I have a feeling moving forward in Rebirth, the blue is going to play a humongous part with the introduction of Dr. Manhattan and things like that moving forward, just by what we've seen with the destruction of the White Lantern ring. And Sade and Ganthet are still trying to put back together the blue core and they're going to start recruiting. Yeah. And
but they are very much
tweeted what's his face from that's writing Green Lantern right now, Hal Jordan of Green Lantern Corps.
It's not Jeff Johns.
No.
I don't know.
I forget who it was. I put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
anyway,
you tweet him and you're like, it'd be cool if, or you said you'd think Flash would get the blue ring again
and be able to use it, and then whenever he needed it, and he goes, that would be an interesting.
He goes,
idea.
That would be something, and then you're like, ...
Oh, yeah, and
because when the white ring like splintered or shattered,
all the different colored rings except for the green, which went back to Kyle, went out into the universe.
And then it was like the panel was like splintered, and then it showed Flash, right?
Showed Flash up against a wall, and the Blue Lantern image, like the icon, the symbol of the Blue Lantern, kind of behind him, and he's like, oh, what's going on? Like he sensed something was going on.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said,
Flash.
Yeah, let's get a blue Flash again, because that would be fucking amazing.
It was awesome. It was so much fun.
But yeah, the story about Saint Walker is tragic, and we're not going to cover it right now, but long story short, in his hunt for a god,
his family died.
Hi, Jeff Johns. His family died.
Because he had hope.
He had hope that there was a higher power.
That would save... Well, because his planet was about to be destroyed by a sun going supernova.
And it wasn't a god that he was actually looking for. You know, it was...
He found his own way, really. Cause that's
meaning. He found his own meaning, but he had to lose his entire family to find that.
But it didn't help him to falter, you know? And that's what all the... It's funny because everyone in the Blue Lantern Corps is somehow affiliated with a religion.
Used to be.
Yeah,
because you had the elephant that represented the Hindu. And,
yes.
Yeah.
And then there was a alien who looked like she was wearing a burqa, almost.
Mm-hmm.
So they before
Shield face
before
covering, yeah.
before the New 52, they all had some kind of religious iconography, I guess.
Which fits
Attributed to
with the
them.
idea of hope.
Yes, it did.
And it's kind of beautiful
worked.
if you take a step back and you look at it. And I would recommend anyone picking up anything that's Blue Lantern related, because not to mention do you get these vivid blue colors on page, but you also get these stories of hope and just helping people, and in a time like we're in today and in this day and age, it doesn't hurt to have those stories out there.
No, but remember, hope is great, but you have to have the willpower.
That's true.
To make it a reality.
That's true. Moving on from there, I think we're gonna hit
Indigo.
Yeah, let's do Indigo.
They're such an interesting group, aren't they? So the Indigo Tribe, they're very different from
anything else.
From all the other lanterns. They, first of all, can access every other emotional spectrum.
Yes.
And
sort of.
Yeah. They
not
can
in the way the White Lantern can.
Not in that way, but they can still channel it.
They can channel it
something.
Because the Indigo Tribe represents compassion.
Yes.
And so the Indigo Tribe, in order to execute compassion, needs to access all these other emotions to counter the emotion that person is feeling. So if that person is feeling rage, they need to be able to access hope. Or if they're, feeling love or too much love or hate,
they just play off the opposites. And to be compassionate, you have to feel you have to be open to feeling everything else.
Yes.
And so they don't have a lantern like everyone else does.
They have rings, but
they have a ring, but they don't have a lantern. Their
right.
lantern is in the form of a staff.
Yes.
So they don't have to,
Which you'll see in images if you look up Indigo Tribe.
You'll see them carrying these wooden.
You'll see Indigo 1 carrying her staff all the time,
and that is their lantern. And their story is so different.
It's dark, man. Okay, so
because they're prisoners.
Abin Sur. Here we go again. Abin Sur is investigating a super aggressive race of people that have taken over this planet and basically enslaved and imprisoned an entire planet of people. And those are the planet. It's Nock, is what it is. But long story short, Indigo 1 ends up killing Abin Sur's
wife and
daughter. And instead of basically destroying this planet and these people, he
wanted them, he paired up with another individual whose name escapes me, and they forged the Indigo Lantern Corps
to force them to feel compassion.
To feel compassion for those who they have harmed.
And it's a stretch of an origin, I will say that, because it's not clean. It's not like it's made out of this necessity. It's definitely a selfishly, I'm going to make you feel compassion type thing.
But it was something that was necessary, I would say.
Absolutely. And I don't think that the world of Green Lanterns would be the same without an Indigo Tribe.
No.
But if the Green Lantern Corps or the police, the Indigo Tribe are kind of the jailers. At this point, they take people that have done wrong, as in William Hand, and they force them to feel the compassion and feel what they've done.
Yeah.
Whenever there's big events.
It's like a weird kind of retribution. Like you join, and I've never really seen, outside of the Atom getting an Indigo ring, I've not really seen people be inducted into the Indigo Tribe. Not like you feel great compassion. I've not really seen that. And
no.
But that is something that was mentioned in Blackest Night, was that Indigo is the rarest. Compassion is the rarest of the
there's like maybe
spectrum.
6 or 7 of them in all.
Well, I don't know, because there were like that panel that showed them dragging William Hand like in chains, like he's walking.
Well, but they also had, you notice like Sinestro was in that panel. There was a couple people that were in that panel. Sinestro was front and center, but he had like the Indigo logo on his forehead, like they were forcing him to feel the compassion of the Sinestro Wars.
Like they were doing like mind tricks to him or
something. They imposed their
compassion,
their power to make the people feel compassion.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of is the logo that shows up to let the readers know that
That's
they
what's
kind of
going
turn that
on.
color, that purple, dark blue, indigo color,
Mm-hmm.
and you see that. But you have Indigo One, and then a whole bunch of people that we don't know.
Yeah, they she's called Indigo One because they dispel everything of their former life.
And
It's like when, because